listening to our podcast, the Slowpoke Travel podcast. We hope you enjoy our podcast. The podcast starts right now. Slowpoke Travel podcast with Buck and Camera Girl. Ta-da!
Hey, how's it going, Camera Girl? We're up here on the rooftop, looking out over San Miguel de Allende, getting a light rain.
Emphasis on light.
We thought the power was going to go out. It's gone out 3 days this week, 3 days in a row. So we thought we'd be sitting up here in the dark, and we planned to come up here and do a podcast in the dark during the brownout, and it
I have a
stayed
flashlight.
light.
It stayed light, but you know what? I realize it is Mother's Day in Mexico and a Friday, so maybe they decided they didn't really have to have the brownout.
So the official
tonight.
Mother's Day is Friday, right before the Sunday, which is the official Mother's Day in the U.S.
Yes. In fact, we went with some folks to breakfast this morning. There were folks in the restaurant celebrating Mother's Day. They were dressed very nicely. People
Why
in
are
there.
Mexicans such go-getters? Why are they so industrious? Why do they have to be 2 days ahead on Mother's Day? Why can't they just relax?
Why are we lazy and 2 days behind? I don't know. I don't know the history of why theirs is on Friday. I'm
You
sure
sound
ours
like
is on Sunday.
An un-American person.
Okay. Well, they're American too. North American.
Alrighty. I feel like I'm losing on Jeopardy now. But anyway, we've been living in San Miguel now with afternoon temperatures in the mid to high 90s. We've been wilting like flowers around town.
It has been a little different. Yeah.
We've been embracing the siesta lifestyle.
Oh, I think today was my 5th siesta where, yes, we came back after 1, maybe closer to 2. Yeah, I guess it was closer to 2.
We get home and we take off our wet underwear and put on our dry, fresh underwear.
Forget you. I was just like, I get a towel, lay down.
Peel off our damp socks.
I don't have to get in the next stuff yet. And just...
Yep. But it's hot.
It is hot. It's a dry heat.
Yep. And in Cuenca, it's exactly the same temperature as when we were there last year. The same temperature it is all year round, seems like.
Oh, 50s and 70s?
50s at night and low 70s or high 60s during the day. It seems like the dream right now. Of course, we froze our butts off a little bit in Cuenca. We froze our butts off a little bit when we first got here.
Oh, yeah. We were wearing our jackets. But yeah, it's definitely warm, and so we plan our days differently because we still want to walk when we go places. We're not interested in taking Ubers all the time. We want to get our exercise, but like after a day like today when we were out for like 5 hours, even trying to stay with the shade.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
now,
my God.
Like tomorrow, we're going to be like, nah, maybe not so much.
If there's a shady side of the street, we're walking on it.
Well, my God, yes.
And if there isn't a shady side of the street, then hopefully we're on our way home. You can't just duck into somewhere to escape from the heat either. You can't in Starbucks. Starbucks has air conditioning.
Oh, that's true. We did do that one day. Yeah.
But there's a couple little coffee shops. And we were thinking, as it was approaching noon, I was like, well, let's go get a cup of coffee. And then I was like, well, we can't go to this coffee shop because it's going to be too hot. And then we can't go to this one because it's going to be too hot. And then we ended up going to one that we sort of thought was going to be cool. And it ended up being too hot.
Well, it's just we didn't cool down very quickly. And I got something cool. You got a hot coffee.
I got a hot coffee. You're supposed to drink a hot drink, right? That's what they do in the desert. They drink the hot tea. Remember Lawrence of Arabia?
Yeah, okay.
Where they drink the hot liquid?
That's a
I don't know
movie.
how that's supposed to cool you down. Is it supposed to make you sweat more?
I think you're right, though. I think light layers, and you are supposed to drink something warm, but I don't think we're quite at that point. We're used to a little AC comfort, so the 90 degrees is different for us.
Well, we have slight AC comfort here at this house because
definitely.
They do have air conditioning in the bedroom, which the owners just got last year.
Yeah.
They didn't have it before,
but it helps.
It was overly hot last summer, so they got this AC, and they bugged out for this summer.
And then we talked to somebody in a restaurant that said they just got AC this year, and he said, we just got it yesterday, and I got my first good night's sleep in a few weeks.
The government sent out, we got a little thing that we got from the government saying to exercise caution because of the heat. This is a thing in Mexico where they sent out saying, don't run your AC too much, you know.
Unless you have all your family together.
Yeah, run it at the hottest time of day when your family's all together. Don't just be wasting it, you know, for your comfort. You know, utilize it if you really need it. And they said, don't fill your gas tank all the way.
I think it's the whole. I think it's heat expands plus gas. Yeah.
And they said don't drive your car in the morning. I don't know what that was.
Yeah, that was a crazy one.
They said to watch out for scorpions and snakes because the scorpions and snakes are going to want to come inside your home to escape the brutal desert elements.
No, they said they're looking for water and refrigeration. You're right.
Yeah, exactly. So it's too hot for the snakes and scorpions. You're going to be looking to come inside. Somebody in the comments had asked about scorpions, and I answered them. We haven't seen any scorpions, although we did see a scorpion in our Airbnb in Guanajuato on our last trip to Mexico, and that's about an hour and a half from here. It's sort of the same elevation. It's sort of the same part of the country. There's definitely scorpions around here. We just haven't seen any. Haven't seen any lizards, really, although I think I might have seen one today.
Or
for the first time. Or snakes. But we're looking out over the city right now, and it looks like there's power everywhere. We can see the cathedral lit up some ways away from here, at least for the moment. We're at a house sit, and there's actually construction going on near the house sit. It hasn't been noisy at all, but you can see that they're slowly building up. So this view that we have of the cathedral, or that the view they have here from this house sit, is going to disappear.
Oh,
before too long.
And they found out the people are doing it illegally. And
yeah.
Ooh, look at that! There's some sand blowing.
Yeah, the breeze has definitely picked up. You can see the sand blowing even though it's nighttime.
You know what? That may not be sand. There was a neighbor who had a water issue. His water was on.
Yeah, but I can see it over there too.
Ah.
It's definitely breezy, and from just having to sweep.
That's true.
From sweeping the courtyards and sweeping around the house, even if we have the doors open, we get lots of dirt and sand and grit in our household. It was the same thing when we were in our other Airbnb.
That's true.
There's just a lot of sand and dry dirt in the air.
Well, part of it has been very dry.
Yeah,
and hot.
super duper dry and hot. Mid-90s is what the average temperature is. Every day now it gets up to mid-90s. Sometimes creeping up into 96, 97.
And they're saying it's going to be 99 about a week from today.
Yeah. So
I just want to point out that you, who reprimand me for talking about the weather to people because you think it's too neutral and there are other things to talk about. We've been talking about the weather now for what, 15 minutes?
Well, I mean, if you're just talking about the weather, just to fill airtime, in a conversation. But this is a podcast about Mexico and San Miguel de Allende, and the weather is playing a big part of our trip. Because at our last Airbnb, we were frying like eggs.
Oh,
because there was no AC. It was really intolerable. The last 2 weeks at that Airbnb were kind of tough. And we were so happy to get to this house sit. And I think I mentioned in another podcast about the importance, if you're going to be here during a hotter time of year in San Miguel, make sure you've got some layers to your accommodation so you can escape. Make sure you're not going to be in some single layer dwelling without air conditioning because it'll be hot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've seen people, they're looking very uncomfortable. And now, we've had 3 different times where the power has gone out.
Wait, newsflash.
Basically 4.
It's more about weather.
Yeah.
I just felt another raindrop.
I felt a raindrop too.
This is only the 3rd time since we've been here, since the beginning of
We're going to count this as
February.
a 3rd time?
Yes,
you
because
saw like 5 drops earlier, and we both just felt 1 drop.
No, I've now felt 4.
Okay. It's not really raining if you can still count the drops on your fingers.
Well, okay, then it's not raining. Wait,
I mean,
I think
know
it
what
just
you're
passed
talking
it.
about.
I think it just passed it. But
get into double digits.
Yeah, it has been very dry.
So dry. The rainy season here is, they say, July and August.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine what that'll be because it has been so absolutely dry while we're here. And we're looking out over an arroyo right now, which is sort of a drainage ditch going through the city, I guess. When
they call it a river.
Yeah, they release water from the dam.
Yeah.
It'll come through here, and I guess if they get a lot of rain, it'll drain off from the city, and this will give a place for the rain to go. But I mean, this arroyo, it looks like a park. I mean, there's trees, there's plants, there's all stuff growing down there. It's like a whole ecosystem that's going on that looks like a forest. It doesn't look like there's usually a river there. I can't imagine this place with a bunch of water. But I guess it must have it. Now, there's a dam.
There's two.
A 20-minute walk from where we're at. We go to the dam. We'll walk up the hill and get us some exercise, and then we're looking down on this brown pool of dam water.
It's green.
Is it? It looks brown to me. There's a lot of green in this town for as dry as it is, and there's a lot of green at this house sit. A lot of homes have a lot of plants, but you have to really water them. That first house that we were here, how many hours a day did you spend watering?
Well, part of it is, I want to make sure the folks don't come back and the plants look worse than when they left.
Yeah, but I'm saying that this is a very green town, but it is not accidentally green. There's a lot of people putting a lot of work into keeping this green.
Some of the plants, aloe, and there are things that are drought tolerant, but they do look better if you give them a little drink of water, as your mom would say.
Luckily at this house, the fella has an automatic watering system set up for a lot of plants.
Yes.
But even so, you're spending an hour a day working on plants, watering and trimming and stuff.
But they're also growing a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyway, but again, the trade-off is worth it. This is a really great place. It's always fun to see how people want to decorate their nest, and
that's one of the best things about house sitting.
Is there's an
seeing
intimacy.
How different people live and getting to experience new places. Like here in San Miguel, we hadn't planned on coming here. We just were lucky enough to book these 2 house sits and get to come here. Now we've been here for about 3 months, and it has gone from very chilly when we first got here.
That's right.
To pretty hot, so that we pretty much schedule our days, so that we'll get out in the morning and do stuff. Because once the afternoon rolls around, it's kind of tough. We're walking around here, we look pretty sad in the middle of the day.
And they're telling you, hey, if you don't have to, don't be out in the direct sun between 10 and 3. And it's hot.
And they've had brownouts here for the last 3 days. In fact, one day, all the power was out. We came out here, we looked out over the hills, everything was black, and it was out for an hour, totally dark. The last couple of evenings, it's just been the valley area. It seems like we've seen plenty of lights and electricity on the hills, but down in the central area in the Guadalupe neighborhood and Independencia has had power, but
yeah, they've had some selective brownouts. But so we expected one tonight. We thought we'd be doing this in the dark, but in the on the top level with a cool breeze. However, I think because it's Mother's Day here and a Friday, maybe they said, let's see, can't we muddle through with our
maybe
power
that is
grid.
One. That's another reason for us to be thankful for mothers, because they keep the power on.
There's many reasons to be thankful for mommies.
Yeah. The heat that we're experiencing in San Miguel now, that we've experienced really for the past month, is that kind of a deal breaker for San Miguel?
You were talking about that today. See, this sort of reminds me of when we were in Seattle. I think the last couple of years, they didn't have a lot of air conditioners there either, but they were transitioning.
Yeah.
Because the weather was getting warmer there. And so I'm just wondering if there will just have to be, and it would be an overhaul of some of their electrical infrastructure.
The infrastructure right now can't handle the AC overload use, and there's very little AC in this town.
Yeah. So
I mean, when you look at the construction, that's one of the things I love about this town and Mexico in general, is there's so much brick construction. There's so many walls and houses. They're just built of brick. They just set up these little wire buttresses, and then they put bricks in between them. There are bricklayers here. And they go up
And
on the
brick
roof.
makers.
And they just put a second story on the building with just bricks. It's just a thin wall of bricks. There's no insulation. It's very simple. We're looking across now at this construction, and we walk around and we see this construction going on all over the place. And it's really not big, loud construction. For the most part, it's just a couple of Mexican fellas in a pickup truck and a whole bunch of bricks, and they're just putting new levels on the houses. It looks very fragile. It looks very simple.
Fragile?
And it looks not well insulated.
But like the metal work, oh, there's some talented people here.
Yeah, there's a lot of artistry here, and nuance and creativity and just doing some strange bullshit.
Yes,
There's
but
a lot
that's
of weird
everywhere.
construction. Like we walked by a store the other day, and I just said as we walked by, I think that's the narrowest grocery store in the world. It looked like a corridor between buildings, and then they had somehow constructed a little tienda in there. I don't know how you would go in there and really shop.
They had a few things in the front display case that was about waist high, and then they had stuff on shelves that you would ask them for.
It's funny because a chocolate shop opened nearby here, and it's such a small space. It was just something. It's smaller than a lot of the closets that we've been in some of our recent house sits. This chocolate shop is smaller than a closet. They don't have air conditioning, so it's just a little closet building that they're trying to sell chocolate in, and now there's record-breaking temperatures, and they're having trouble with the chocolate melting.
Yeah, so they had to get some refrigerated display cases. But what was great is there was another example where this couple said, one of the couple has a passion for making chocolate. And it's like, hey, how about if we try selling this? And so that's how they started.
Here,
Yeah.
you know, people open a restaurant, it'll just have 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 tables. I mean, like in the United States, you could never make a go of it with something like that. It would be so hard.
There'd be a lot of there'd be more money.
You know, enough
up
income
front.
to pay your rent and to pay your bills and, you know, to form a business.
But just the feel, even some of those places where they pop up and there's 1, 3, or 5 tables. All these wonderful doorways, and you go in and you think it's just going to be this little hovel, and it opens up into this amazing courtyard with tables and a fountain, and you get this great meal, and you just don't know what you're going to find on the different streets. And people are just lovely. They're not trying to be in a hurry, in a good way. You get good service, and of course, what do you love?
Is there less?
What do you love about the coffee?
What do I love about the coffee? Oh, that they give it to you in an actual coffee cup.
Yeah, not a to-go cup, that if you're going to stay in the coffee shop. So
I have a Pavlovian response to paper coffee cups now. It just irritates me.
I think it's called a temper tantrum.
That's a little bit of
Pavlovian
extreme. I did toss that paper cup of coffee in the barista's face at one time.
Oh, okay. You've never done that. But still.
And I just started yelling, "Are you shitting me? Are you shitting me with this paper
All
cup?"
right.
When is too hot, too hot?
Well, we're not going to get out and explore. Like, I wanted to get back to the botanical gardens. There's a toy museum.
Botanical gardens? We
There's
might as well put a gun in our mouth.
All right. But anyway.
We wouldn't survive the botanical gardens.
We would survive it, but yeah, we would be
How angry
wilted.
are the snakes and scorpions up there on top of that hill, surrounded by cactuses?
Oh! Yeah, we went to breakfast with some people today, and by 11 o'clock, it was already hot, and we rambled around until 2.
Yeah, we were
just
out and
stayed
about.
out. Yeah.
Not making the smart decision.
Well, we did. We knew why we were out, but and we did it. But yeah, we're not as acclimated. But we bought sandwiches from somebody, and the guy is like on the side of the road. He doesn't even have a fan. He's behind this huge griddle, and he's making sandwiches.
Yeah, he's just standing along the highway, cooking meat on a griddle all day in the hot sun.
We are wusses when it comes to the weather.
And we're wandering around from ice cream shop to ice cream shop, complaining about the heat.
Well, complain to each other. We're not complaining to people.
Yesterday we had a paleta, and we sat by the side of the road eating a paleta, which is a little ice cream thing. And then there's there's like a security guard that stands in front of this bank, and we see him every day. And we say hello to him when we walk by. But we were sitting on the other side of the street eating a paleta. And then after we finished that paleta, we looked down the street and we could see another ice cream shop a couple blocks down.
That we hadn't tried yet.
And Lisa was like, maybe we should get another ice cream. You know, I had to think for 1.5 seconds.
Yeah, okay.
And then I said, you know, that sounds like a good idea. We should get another ice cream. But we had to make sure that we walked down the street, that the security guy didn't. I wanted to make sure that he didn't see us get another ice cream. I don't want a man watching me going to 2 different ice cream shops.
You are a crazy man sometimes. I thought it was because you thought he would think
soft.
we were casing the joint.
I just don't want him to think I'm some floppy, soft gringo sitting around eating popsicles on the street all day, which I
is
am.
what we do.
I want to look like a hard, tough guy that only eats 1 paleta a day.
Oh,
or at least
I see.
1 paleta in an hour. Do I do 2 different ice creams?
Yeah, but we thought this other place, we kept passing it by because there'd either be loud music or it had the word artisanal, so we thought, okay, it's going to be expensive.
And there was a young person
popsicles.
working in there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, she filled my waffle cone from the very bottom to the tippity top.
Ah, that's why you liked her.
Yeah, and it wasn't that much. It was one of the best buys that we had. You know how you just somebody will get a scoop of ice cream, and then if you get a waffle cone, they'll just put it on the top? Then your cone becomes almost like
it's just a cookie.
A stand, like a display to put your ice cream on. I don't
it
want that.
It stays crisp.
I want the ice cream to fill it up. I want a full cone of ice cream. I want 800 calories in my hand.
Oh my God.
I don't know, when I say it like that, it doesn't sound too great.
Yeah, whatever.
Oh, there's some people walking down in the arroyo. I see somebody walking down there on the other side of the bridge. Yeah. I'm surprised we don't see more people down there.
I've gotten 2 mosquito bites, so we're probably have to wrap it up.
I pulled my long socks up. I tell you what, I don't know if it's just aging, but I wear black socks all the time, and I have them pulled up to my calves. But I don't wear shorts. Now, in the United States, I'd have my socks pulled up with my shorts. But here in Mexico, I don't wear shorts. I've seen people wearing shorts. By and large, I think most people wear long pants. I don't know if it's a cultural thing, even though it's hot.
It's hot, but part of it, for me, there's lots of cobblestones, there's lots of things.
Oh my God, people wear sandals.
Yeah.
And flip-flops. I couldn't do it. I didn't know. My toes would be... Oh, my toes are already beat all to hell just from walking around the house with my flip-flops. There's just so much brick and stone and uneven pavement, curbs.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, you're just whacking your toes and your ankles left and right.
That sounds like a personal problem.
But you know, you see a lot of people with canes and boots on their feet. Everybody we talk to, like we've talked to a lot of expats and people that have lived here, and it seems like it's a lot of husbands and wives, and it seems like they all have one story or another about their wife falling or their husband tripping, and so-and-so broke their shoulder and so-and-so broke their foot.
I mean, but you remember that one time we were going into a department store and I slipped on a cantaloupe peel and I did a Spider-Man, like I just...
Oh my God.
I don't know how I kept my face from kissing the pavement.
You were about to smack your face right into that curb. I was just stunned that you saved yourself.
It was amazing.
If you'd have hit your head on that, I'd have had to go find a new girlfriend.
But maybe it would have been like a lobotomy and I would have been less sassy.
What?
Maybe you would have liked that.
Yeah, you would have been in a coma for life on that one, buddy.
No.
I'd be sending you flowers once a year.
You don't bring me flowers anymore. Mosquitoes
What is that over there in the light?
Where?
I don't know. It was underneath that street light. I guess it was some kind of bug. Do you see what I'm talking about?
A bug.
I guess it was a huge moth reflecting under that street lamp.
Do I need to explain to you the concept of shadow?
It looked like the world's largest firefly for a second.
Remember, you told me I was a liar when I saw there was a possum in the middle of the day in a park.
That was in Benito Juarez
Yes.
Park? You thought you saw a possum?
No, I didn't think I saw a possum.
You saw a possum.
I saw a possum,
Okay.
and he had what looked like a ball in his mouth. I don't know what he had.
See, okay, your story gets a little bit...
Huh?
You're basically telling me that you saw a possum playing with a ball at the park.
It could have been a little possum. It could have been food. I don't know what it was. See, you're getting bit up too. So,
Maybe
okay,
you
we
had
don't need to
some
fight.
pulque. Was that the day you
Pulque.
had all the pulque?
No, it wasn't the day I had
What
pulque.
is pulque? We had pulque one afternoon. It's a fermented like a beer?
It's an alcoholic, slightly alcoholic drink.
Is it a distant cousin of kombucha?
I don't think so. Pulque is more,
Alcoholic?
more alcoholic from agave plants. Of
Never heard of
that family of plants.
I
Anyway.
enjoy it, but it is alcohol, so my body doesn't tolerate it as much anymore. But I was feeling nice when we had it that one time. I get a little more talkative when I've had a wee little bit of alcohol in me.
So is that what you want us to do? Go get some pulque, bring it back here
I've
for the next
suggested it a couple times, and you've shut me down.
Because if it's hot, no.
Yes,
I am.
you're right.
Mm-mm.
You're definitely right.
I'm just like, if I'm already hot and spent, no. And then if we're not careful, we've gotten back into, oh, let's have a scone.
What are you talking about?
let's-
Get back in the habit. I'm firmly in that habit.
I had gotten back out of it, and I was having all my coffee black, and it was,
Yeah.
and I had more energy even
Sure.
before all the heat. Anyway, we don't need to get into all that whining.
And we don't
But
need
we are
pulque.
enjoying
If we're
ourselves.
doing 2 ice creams a day, that's our version of pulque right now. If we want to get effed up, we don't need alcohol. We just need 2 ice creams.
Well, there's different kind of sugars. Yeah, alcohol is just sugar. Okay, I'm getting more mosquito bites.
We'll go ahead and call that an end to our little sitting out on the thing jibber jabbering. Camera girl's getting whittled away by the bugs.
Yeah.
So that's it. Thanks for listening to us, Jaw. If you want to check out some house sit information, I'll have it down below. I'll link to our house sitting playlist, and then we've also got a link over to trustedhousesitters.com. It'll give you a 25% discount, if you want to sign up and give that a try. That's the website we've been using since 2017.
I think that's correct.
It's about the best one. We've looked into a few others. They're not nearly as intuitive, so give it a look. What else? We got a Patreon if you want to Patreon
PayPal.
us.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you later on the Slowpoke Travel Podcast.
Alrighty, that is it. Click, subscribe, review, share all over the global internet sphere. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next time on the Slowpoke Travel Podcast.